Hello, distinction students. Welcome to our civic education online class. This is your tutor, Ms. Cynthia Miranda. This video will discuss essay writing. Okay, so before we know how to write an essay, we need to know what an essay is. So, in simple terms, an essay is an academic piece of writing on a particular subject, theme, or a topic written in prose form. So, because of that, it is advisable to follow some of the guidelines, okay, when you're writing an essay, all right? So it is simply an academic piece of writing on a particular subject or a theme or even a topic, and you're advised to write it in prose form. And as a result, there are certain rules that you need to follow in order to write a very good essay. Okay, so what are some of those things? So please pay particular attention of those particular things that you're supposed to do as you're writing your essay. Okay, so the first one is you need to make sure that your essay has a title. Okay, your essay has a title. So the title that your essay may have, it can be a question itself as a heading, but you just have to make sure that it is underlined. So make sure that your essay has a title, okay? And that title can be a question itself as the heading, okay? So what you just need to do is to make sure that you underline it, okay? Then, aside from that, it must have a structure of an academic composition. We know some of us that are doing composition writing, okay? We know that a composition must have an introduction, okay? We know that a composition has an introduction, it has a main body, as well as appropriate paragraphs and a conclusion, right? So, when we begin to look at all these, one after the other, an introduction in your civic education, in your essay, okay, may be in form of you defining, you explaining the key word or rather the phrase in the question, depending on how it has been phrased, okay? Let's just give an example of what I'm talking about exactly. Let's say you have been given a question, analyze 4 electoral systems used in the world today. So we know this topic is under governance, right? So this topic is under governance. So they give you a question to write an essay, analyze 4 electoral systems in the world today. Now, in this case, the keyword or rather phrase is the electoral system, right? Then, now you need to define or rather briefly explain, okay, what an electoral system is. So that will now help you give the best introduction, okay? How do you do it? You will begin, okay? So now it has to be in paragraph form as you are beginning your introduction, okay? So make sure that your essay is paragraphed. So you will begin. An electoral system is a process or method through which the citizens choose their representatives or leaders, okay? Then you pause there, you put a full stop. Now, you begin explaining to say, this is usually done through actions, okay? So you would say this is usually done through what? Through elections. Okay. Then you need to make mention that there are so many electoral systems, okay, that are used in the world. Now, this essay will analyze each one of these separately, okay? So already the person who's reading your essay has an idea of what you're about to talk about, okay? So that is how you do your introduction. Your introduction will consist the definition of the keywords that are in the what? In the question, What is our question? Analyze 4 electrosystems used in the world. So before you begin analyzing the electrosystems, you introduce the topic. Okay, what topic is that? The electrosystems. Now the person who's reading needs to know what electrosystems are, or rather what is an electrosystem before you begin to analyze those systems that exist in the world. Okay, so that is it about the introduction. Okay, then we now talk about the main body of the essay. Okay, the main body of the essay. Now the main body of the essay comprises the parts of the entire content, okay, which is segmented into paragraphs. So in your main body, you will begin to now discuss, or rather analyze the electrosystems, okay? Each one of those electrosystems should be discussed separately. How do you separate them? You paragraph. So each electrosystem should have its own paragraph, okay? We know that we have 4 electrosystems in the 4 main ones, right, that we discussed. We have the first past the post, the proportionality representation system. We also have the single member majoritarian system, okay, the mixed member majoritarian system. So all those are those are the 4 main electrosystems. So each electrosystem must have a paragraph of its own, okay? You explain, you even give examples in each and every electrosystem, okay? So that the person who's reading can better understand what type of electrosystem you are discussing, okay? So, as you go down, you need to use relevant connecting, or rather linking words to join one paragraph to another, okay? So you need to make sure that you use relevant connecting points, okay, that can connect one paragraph to another. So your work has to be in chronological order. Let's take, for instance, the conjunctions that you can use. So take note, the conjunctions that you can use to join this paragraph. Okay, so as you begin with the first paragraph with the first electrosystem and say, firstly, we have the first past the post, okay, which is defined as, so you define it, you even give an example, and you can even give a scenario, okay, so that you can help the reader understand the electrosystem better, okay. Then as you progress, you can also use the word again, okay, in the second paragraph, okay. Again, we also have, okay, the single majoritarian system, which is defined as, okay. Then as you define it, you can also make mention that it is known as, okay. Then aside from that, okay, you can also use the word in addition, not only, okay, not only that, but also then. You can also use then, in fact, moreover, as a result, okay, indeed, to crown it all, okay. So those are some of the words that you can use. Now that is, as you are concluding, you can use the word to crown it, or, okay, those phrases. In conclusion, lastly, in summary, to sum it up, okay, what has been written in the essay, okay. So do not introduce a new point in the conclusion, but you can just highlight one major point from those that you have given in the essay. Okay, so you do not introduce a new point in the conclusion, but you can only highlight one major point from the from those that you gave in your essay. Okay, so that is a part where now you are concluding. So for the concluding paragraph, you can use in conclusion, to crown it all, Lastly, in summary, to sum up what has been discussed in the essay, okay? So that is after you have finished analyzing the electrosystems, you have finished giving the examples, okay, as well as defining these electrosystems, okay? So at times, a conclusion can be written in form of a recommendation, okay? It's not always that you can just conclude and just leave it like that. You can also give your thought about certain things. You can recommend certain things if you feel there's need to do so. So you need to remember that as you finish, after you finish, you need to make sure that you proofread your work, okay, in order to make corrections where possible. Okay, so those are some of the important points that you need to take note of. Now, what are some of the things that you need to avoid as you are writing your essay? So, the first thing that you need to avoid is underlining the points. Why are we saying that? There is no need for you to underline your points because whoever is going to be marking is a professional teacher. He or she can be able to identify the important point that you're trying to put across, okay? So as they read through your work, as they go through your work, they'll be able to identify the points, okay? So in essay writing, we do not identify points. Aside from that, you do not number the points, okay? Instead, what do? You give the point in paragraph such that the point can come as just a key sentence, okay, in the paragraph, and then you can later build the paragraph by supporting sentences with related ideas, okay. So numbering of points is not advised in essays, okay. What you just need to do is you make sure that your points, you give them in paragraph form, okay? Because whenever you're paragraphing these points, it's very easy for somebody to be able to identify points, okay? Because you know, when your work is organized in paragraph form, it's very easy for one to be able to depict what point is put across, okay? Then aside from that, you do not write in note form, okay? You do not write in note form or maybe point form. When writing an essay in civic education, never use the dashes to just itemize the point. You write in prose form just like you write compositions. So some of us that take English, some of us that took English, we know that compositions are not written in point form, okay? In note form. So you do not write the dashes or anything like that. You just have to write them in prose form, in the composition form. Then aside from that, you do not write subtopics or maybe subtitles in the course of writing your essay. What do I mean by this? There are some of us that would want to show the reader to say, this is our introduction, this is our conclusion, this is our main body. So now I'm talking about the first past the post, okay? So that is not necessary. What do? You paragraph. The person who's reading will be able to know to say, now you're discussing first past the post and all that. So we do not write subtitles. The only title, or rather the only subtitle that you have is the title itself. That's all. Aside from that, there is none. So that is a simple way of writing an essay, okay? So unless we have questions that we are going to deal with, please take note of them, so as we'll be discussing, we can be able to answer those questions. So this is your tutor, Ms. Cynthia Munda. You can always go through the video as many times as possible to understand this topic better. Okay,